Good evening. I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is a meeting of the City of Gloucester Licensing Board. Today is April 12, 2022. The time is 6:34 p.m. This meeting is being held by remote participation on Zoom. And I'm going to read the legal language that's required. This meeting is recorded by video and audio in accordance with state open meeting law pursuant to Section 20 of Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021. This meeting will be conducted by remote participation. Additionally, all votes taken by the Gloucester Licensing Board during this and future remote meetings will be by roll call vote. If you're calling in on a phone, you can press *9 to request to speak. If you're watching on a computer or device, there's a raised hand button that you can tap or press to request to speak. Please use either of these options during oral communications to be recognized to speak. Also, the information for this meeting is on the city website. It was posted last week, and the recording of this video is usually available within 24 hours on the city website as well. So I am going to start. I'll just introduce everyone. As I see on my screen up in the top corner, I see Member John Orlando, myself, Melissa Prince, John Lamarand, and Allison Battle, our licensing board clerk. We are also joined by some city administration, and I will introduce them when we get to that part of the agenda. So first order of business is public comment. So I'm going to ask if there's anyone on, and as of right now, I see 18 attendees. Is there anyone that would like to address the licensing board on a matter that is not on the agenda? So any matters that you wanted to address us that don't involve a public hearing tonight or an application. If you would like to address the board on a matter not on the agenda, please raise your hand or press *9. And I do not see anyone requesting to speak under public comment. So the agenda tonight, we are first going to hear from city administration and then have a public hearing on the new available license. After that discussion, we are going to take some matters out of order, and I am going to call for the new seasonal all alcohol beverage package store license for Rocky Necklace LLC, DBA The Rudder, to be heard after our first public hearing. Because Attorney Fine has a matter with the City Council tonight and needs to address that council as well. So I'd like to introduce and welcome. We have Sal DiStefano here from City of Gloucester Administration. He is the current Economic Director. Jill Cahill is also joining us. I'm not sure if she will be addressing us tonight, but she is with us as well. She is the Chief Administrative Officer for the City of Gloucester and also the former Economic Director as well. So thank you very much, both of you, for attending this meeting tonight. We've asked you to come before the board to provide an overview of any community development plans for the City of Gloucester. As you know, restaurant businesses usually coincide with community development, and we're just curious as a board to hear if there's any new initiatives or new information coming forward about how the city is being proactive to increase the development of our beautiful city. So with that being said, Sal DiStefano, would you like to address the board and provide any information to the licensing board in that matter?
Great, thank you, Madam Chair. As you mentioned, I'm here with Jill Cahill, who is our Chief Administrative Officer. I know she had another meeting going on simultaneously, so I'm not sure if she will jump on, but if she does, she could just jump in at any time. Thank the members of the board for your hard work throughout the year. You know, this is a very exciting time in Gloucester. The city has been working hard on a number of initiatives. The ones that I'm involved in have to do with economic development, which when people ask what does that mean, it's basically anything in the city that promotes jobs, promotes economic vitality, affects anything that affects economic policy. And as you can imagine in business, it it really touches all aspects of business in the city. But as we all know, we've been working through this pandemic that's been going on for over 2 years. And one of the things that happened when all cities were forced to shut down is the Baker administration rolled out a plan called Local Rapid Recovery Plan. And they invited municipalities to apply to this plan. And basically the goal was to look at things and engage with stakeholders within a community to figure out what's needed in our city to move forward, and hopefully this post-pandemic environment, if we ever get there, God willing. And some of those things are, looking at some of the opportunities and challenges. We know that with online retailers gaining so much strength when everything was shut down, we really had to figure out what's the future for our downtown. And not just, when I say downtown, it's not just Main Street or Rogers Street. I also include Rocky Neck and Lexington Ave as well. So a lot of the things that we're working on could be applied really throughout the city, looking at things like promotion of vacant storefronts. As you know, there's some significant vacancies downtown that exist, but the good news is there are folks looking at moving in there, but it's how do we engage? How do we get the right businesses in there? How do we work together with them so that everybody prospers and that it offers something for the residents? So part of the Local Rapid Recovery Plan was a series of stakeholder engagement meetings with different sectors, such as business owners, restaurateurs, landlords, nonprofits, people from the artist community, and residents to come together and say, what do we need? What are our obstacles and challenges? And through that, some needs rose to the top, and we were assigned a consultant that helped us throughout the process and to let the state know where our needs were. And some of the things that rose to the top were, parking and traffic study. Everybody knows that it could be really challenging during the summer to find parking in some places of the city. How do we utilize the assets we do have? How do we learn from other communities that have implemented parking solutions? And sometimes it's not necessarily just keep putting up parking garages places. There's smart kind of out of the box techniques that could be used. And we are seeking grant funding to pay for a study that would help us with that and see what potential solutions the city could have. Also, improvement of wayfinding and signage. That's another thing, is directing people where to go could also help with traffic. Promotion of the tourism economy is very important. Are there things that we could do that will improve the visitor experience in the city? And are there things that can be done during the shoulder season? So these are all things that are very important, but they all cost money. So we've been applying for grants, looking for support from the Commonwealth, and they've been great. So we're waiting to hear on that. We're looking into launching a signage assistance program for businesses looking to put up new signs. Also looking into the viability of establishing a downtown management organization. There's a lot of great organizations doing good work, including the city, but we've heard loud and clear from some of the businesses, we need some sort of entity that kind of wakes up every day and thinks about downtown and the issues that they face. So all of those things, they take resources, and we're a small department, and we rely on grant funding to hire experts in these areas to give us some guidance and some help. But what's really exciting is that as these projects are moving forward, they could really help the city in a lot of different ways, and we're working hard to continue to attract new businesses to the city. and not just downtown, but also in our industrial parks. There's very little space available in our industrial parks because of the growth of companies that we've brought in over time. For example, Cometeer Coffee, that we worked with closely during the pandemic, went from 88 employees to over 150 in a short amount of time. So that's just one example of companies that we work with that are doing well. We're also looking for support to launch a new master plan. So these are all things that we're working on and we're excited about, and we want the businesses to do well. We want to support them, but there's always going to be challenges because we are on an island. There's limited space. There's competing interests for space. So by working together, engaging with stakeholders, working with experts, we can hopefully come up with solutions that will help us for the next 400 years, So those are really exciting things. And the mayor is very focused on economic development, and he really wants the city to continue to prosper. And, we're doing the best we can. So however we can work together with the licensing board on these issues, we're definitely willing to do it. Whatever way we can have a fair and open process for anything we're doing and support our businesses, especially veteran-owned, women-owned, minority-owned businesses is something that we're happy to work with you on, and just please think of me as a resource. So that's it.
Great, thank you, Sal. John, do you have any questions for Sal?
Oh, John, you're muted.
They're both muted. Who wants to go first?
There we go. So there are some empty buildings on Main Street. Do you have any word as to whether there are new owners of those buildings or new tenants for those buildings? And would those new tenants be looking for alcoholic licenses?
John, that's a good question. I did hear that there are new owners. I have not met with them directly to discuss what their plans are. I've spoken to the either agent or seller of those properties. They've let me know that those transactions have taken place. I don't have any information. However, they wouldn't start with me. They probably start with the building department, but I believe that something is in the works, and if they need it, I'm sure they're going to come to Allison or to Melissa. But whatever goes in there, we would like to work with them closely. So it's something that would help downtown and be, a positive use, and something that would continue to bring economic vitality and jobs to the city.
Thank you.
John Lammer, do you have questions or comments?
Mine was similar to John's. If there's any, if they're aware of any, restaurants are kind of already brainstorming about coming into the city. So, so thank you. I'm good.
Great. So I'm not sure if you can answer this. Curious, I looked at the city council agenda tonight briefly and saw that there is something about outdoor dining on the agenda. I don't know if it's on the consent agenda. I can't be specific at this time. I could probably look it up. Do you know anything about that? I mean, I don't know if that's something coming out of your department or someone else, but I'm just curious because I haven't heard anything of it until I saw it tonight. Are you aware of what that discussion is about? Because I figured that would impact us. Oh.
Melissa, this is Jill. Sorry.
Hi,
Jill. That's not on the city council agenda tonight, so I don't know what you saw it on. I'm on city council too.
Oh, great. Okay.
Oh, that's
Thank
the
you
reason
for
I'm
joining
not.
us, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to do a little bit of both, but no,
Okay.
it's not. And just for an update, so we have been working with the chamber on it, and
Okay.
we're trying to get a read on this from, to see if the ward counselors and things in the neighborhood are supportive, because there's obviously both people are on both sides. So
Yeah,
we're waiting
okay.
for some more feedback, and if we can get it done, we'll get it done, but we will keep you in the loop for sure.
Thank you.
We understand
I
it affects your
apologize. I thought I saw it on the agenda. I don't know what I saw something somewhere. I apologize if I spoke incorrectly.
That's
But
okay,
just
no
knowing
problem.
that the licensing board gets involved in all that, so I was just curious what was going on, but thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if there's progress, we'll definitely keep you posted.
Okay. And Sally, you involved with the downtown block parties? Does that come out of your department at all? Or is
So
that
we
just the
work-
special events?
Well, you bring up an interesting point, because when Jill had spoken, she mentioned that the chamber has been a great partner
Yep.
in everything we do. I neglected to mention that, the LRRP process, we work closely with the chamber, as well as Action and other nonprofits, real partnership and collaboration, which is great. So the chamber runs the block parties for the city, and they do a great job, brings a lot of people downtown. I know I always enjoy bringing my family to it, so looking forward to it.
I was hoping we could have extras this year to make up for the ones we missed. Such a great,
That would be nice.
I know. Okay. Thank you so much, both you and Jill, for joining us tonight. It's good to hear initiatives that are going on, and looking forward to see the progress of the grant applications and seeing how we can make our community more visitor friendly and sought out. Not that we don't get a lot of tourists already, but we have such a beautiful city that it would be great to see the parking and the availability of options to eat at different places, and seeing new businesses grow here would be wonderful. So thank you for that work.
Exciting.
It
Thank
is.
you, Melissa.
Have a good night.
You too.
I,
Okay, next order of business is a public hearing. We have several public hearings on tonight, but this public hearing is in regard to the new all on-premise all alcohol license. Sorry, whenever I say those words in a row, I get a little tongue-tied. All alcohol on-premise pouring license. So this is a license for a restaurant, not a package store. And because our population went up, the ABCC informed us that there is a license available, and we are beginning the process of being able to distribute that license and award it hopefully in the upcoming months. So tonight we are going to start by having a public hearing, and in this public hearing we are soliciting comments from the community, people who live here, residents that would like to give us some of their thoughts on criteria that we should establish when we award this license. I'm hearing, and I'm sure we're all hearing, that there's a lot of interest in this license, and we are trying to have a process that is very fair, that is very open and transparent. All the consideration for this decision will be done publicly through this board on Zoom meetings available to anyone who wants to watch. And like I said earlier, these meetings are recorded, so they are able to be watched any time of day once they are posted to the city website. So that being said, I see somebody has their hand up, and I'm gonna see who that is first.
It's Meredith.
Meredith,
Meredith.
all right. So knowing that Meredith has to go to a city council meeting, I'm gonna allow her to talk before I open the meeting and see what that is. Meredith, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
I can.
I was going to talk about this. I was going to testify on this question.
Okay, so let me just call the meeting to order, and then I'll call you first, okay? So I am gonna According to the Code of Regulations of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 17 of the City of Gloucester, we are now eligible to grant one annual all alcohol on-premise pouring license. This board tonight will solicit public comments regarding criteria to be considered to determine eligible candidates at this virtual hearing. So the meeting has now been called to order. I'm going to ask all that would like to speak to raise their hand. And when we do promote you to speak, please state your name and your address for the record. And you can speak up to 3 minutes to the criteria to address this board on what criteria we should establish. If we do not have a lot of commenters tonight and it needs to go a little bit more than 3 minutes, we will consider that as well. So I see 3 hands raised right now, and we are going to start with Meredith Fine. So Meredith, when you're ready, you can go ahead and speak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Meredith Fine, 46 Middle Street. I happen to be the chair of the licensing board the last time we had an open license. And so I just wanted to share a couple of things from that experience if they would be helpful. First of all, I appreciate how attentive the board has been to the licenses that have just been lying around. And I salute you for that. On this open license, just a couple of thoughts. We got a lot fewer applications than I had expected. I thought that we'd be overrun with applications, and I think we only got 6 or 7, some of which were you're just kicking the tires. So that was an interesting experience. And I watched the tape of your last meeting. And I know that you're trying to make this as objective as possible, but I should tell you that I was heavily lobbied and kind of all over town. And so you should just prepare. There was kind of no way to avoid it, unless I just stayed in the house for 3 months. And most of the process was dictated by the ABCC. We didn't realize until kind of the last minute that we had to timestamp every single application as they came in. And that made a huge difference in the process. So I'm happy to be helpful to you in any way that you would find useful.
Thank you very much, Meredith. Appreciate it. Sorry, I'm just writing down my notes. Next person to speak is Rick Hossman. Rick, if you could unmute and state your name and address for the record, please. Rick, we cannot hear you. Can you hear us? I see that you're unmuted, but we're not hearing you. So I'm wondering if you want to get out and come back in, and I'll call on you again. Or maybe try a different phone or a different device. So I am going to go now to Dean Sala. Dean, if you could unmute and state your name and address for the record.
Hi, can you hear me all right?
We can.
Dean Sala, 236 Magnolia Ave here in Gloucester.
Thank you, Dean.
So interesting to see this license come up. I think it's a great thing. I wish this would happen more often. I think the limit is kind of disturbing to the businesses trying to thrive. I'm hearing rumors that, you know, this license could be an attraction to bring a new restaurant to town. I understand that, but I really think the board should look heavily at existing businesses trying to survive in this climate, especially the ones with seasonal licenses. It's very hard to try to stay open year round with only a seasonal license. I mean, obviously, you know, I'm speaking on behalf of George's Restaurant and Bar. Their business at night went down considerably, and in the morning without the liquor. I mean, they've already seen a huge bump in business since April 1st when they got their license back. But you know, that business there is, you know, probably the longest standing restaurant in the
So,
city.
Dean, I just want to stop you for a minute. We're just looking for criteria. We're not soliciting any comment about any businesses that should be considered at this time. There'll be a time for that later. We're just trying to form some criteria. So I'm hearing from you right now so far, and I'm just want to capture what you said so far, that you think an existing business that's probably already has a seasonal license because of the struggle to go year round. Those are the type of comments we're here to hear tonight, not naming any business that would be interested, because that's not what we're here for tonight. It's only to develop criteria that we should consider. So I'm hearing very strongly from you about an existing seasonal license.
Okay, yeah, so that would be my main comment. I think really an existing restaurant that is trying to survive, I think that should be point number one on the criteria list. To reward businesses that have stayed and, you know, they survived through COVID and they're trying to make it, you know, to make it a draw to bring a new restaurant downtown or wherever someone wants to go, to me is a really unfair advantage. So I guess that would be my main point is, you know, to reward some existing restaurants that are trying to get into it. To ask a small restaurant to pay $150,000 to buy somebody else's licenses, it's pretty unrealistic right now. So I guess that would be my main point then. Thanks for the time.
And thank you, Dean. Just so I know you were speaking from experience of being a business owner yourself when you mentioned George's, but I just wanted to make sure that that this wasn't an opportunity for solicitation, because there's other members that want to speak, and I didn't want this conversation to turn into that at this time. There'll be time for that at another meeting, which I'm sure we'll hear from you.
Yeah, sure will.
But thank you very much.
All right, thanks.
We're going to go back to Rick Hossman. Rick, can you hear us?
So now it's hand raised hand.
I don't see anyone. I thought I saw Rick here with a hand up. Rick, we cannot hear you. Can you call in from a cell phone maybe?
I'm sure I knew Ruby had their hand up, but they're not there anymore.
I'm seeing some people put their hand up and then it's down as well. So I don't see anyone with their hand up right now. Rick.
There we go.
All right, so I'm gonna go to Ruby. Rick Hossman, can you hang up and disconnect and try again? Because you've been on our screen this meeting and we're not able to hear you. So perhaps we do want to hear from you. So perhaps if you try a different way. And I'm gonna allow Ruby. So Ruby, if you can hear me, can you unmute and state your name and address for the record? Oh, no.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, that sounds like Rick.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, Rick, I'm hearing some feedback. So you can you mute your other? Wait, I think I can. Hold on.
There you go.
Okay.
It's working.
So Rick, can you state your name and address for the record, please? Now he's muted. Dear God.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can. Thank you. Name and address.
Okay, great. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Lord have mercy. So Rick Hossman, 4 Blueberry Lane, Gloucester, Massachusetts. Can you hear me?
We can.
Great. We're into our 5th year here at Drift. We opened with a seasonal liquor license because there were no licenses available for sale at the time. We took a very serious approach to learn the workings of the city and the licensing board in order to acquire a license either through normal channels of purchasing one or by campaigning the city to submit a home rule petition to the state to issue additional seasonal and special licenses, more special licenses than seasonal. We met with the city of Salem, who went through the process as we've just described of going to the state and requesting a home rule petition to issue additional licenses at a reduced fee. In the end, a standard license became available and we purchased it through normal channels. Now this license is available for sale through the city, which must be sold at a fixed price dictated by the city or state. You've called a public hearing asking for input on criteria to determine who would be eligible to purchase the license. We believe there should be stages of criteria that should be considered. The first priority should fall to the seasonal license holders who've been a part of the community the longest, as well as staying open, serving the community through the winter. These people should take priority over all others, regardless of revenue it would generate if it were able to serve year round. This could be construed as discrimination. Selling it to a new restaurant or new owners without offering it to long-standing restaurants first could also be arguably discrimination. I offer that the license should first be offered to long-standing seasonal license holders that have been selling alcohol to their patrons the longest, and then offered to new restaurants coming in requiring and asking or requesting licenses. We approached Sal DiStefano and Jill Cahill right before COVID to discuss these home rule petition licenses that could alleviate some of the frenzy to acquire a one and single liquor license that is now available at the reduced rate. They were very open to discuss it, but yet when other licenses become available, the necessity for these other types of licenses falls to the wayside, which is understandable. That's all I have.
Thank you, Rick. Appreciate your time and your comments. Okay. Next, we have Zorba Kinnenstein. Zorba, if you can hear me, can you unmute and state your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, my name is Zorba Kinnigstein. My address is 13 Spring Street, Gloucester, Massachusetts.
Hi, Zorba.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. I agree with the last two people who called in. I kind of think that, I think priority should be given to those who are already open year round in Gloucester, who do have the seasonal license and are trying to stay open year round. And specifically like a smaller business, when we're talking about bringing these new companies into, or new restaurants into Gloucester, we're talking about generally restaurant groups that own many different locations, have very deep pockets, and they're just picking up another spot where the small business owners, I feel like, aren't really able to compete in certain areas financially with some of those restaurants. It would be nice if it was a locally owned restaurant, someone who has maybe been a part of the community for most of their lives, rather than someone just coming from out of town and trying to make a couple quick bucks. And I would say one area of Gloucester that's really lacking in a city with about 30,000 people would be breakfast alcohol service. There's only one restaurant in Gloucester over the winter during the week that serves drinks, and that's the Beauport Hotel. And it's a wonderful hotel. I'm not saying anything negative about a hotel, but it's definitely more catered to people on vacation, people coming to weddings. It's not catering to the locals. And it would be nice if the license went to somebody who was there year round for locals, had reasonable prices. So, families can afford to go there and not be spending exorbitant amounts on food and drinks. So that's just kind of my thought that, it would be, in my opinion, as a Gloucester resident for most of my life, that it would be better served going to a smaller business that is already open year round, that doesn't have to make any changes. So we don't have another situation like the tavern, for example, that, is just holding on to this license that's not being used. I think it should go to someone who's going to use it immediately and serve year round.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your comments. I'm going to go to Sunrise Chinese Restaurant. If you could unmute and state your name and address for the record, please.
宝红鞋 510 Heights Cafe Inn, Gloucester.
Okay, just hold on because I see you're talking through a different phone and that's okay, but we're getting feedback. So, okay, try that again and say your name and address.
宝红鞋 510 Heights Cafe Inn, Gloucester, Massachusetts.
Okay, thank you for joining us tonight. What would you like to provide for comment to the board for criteria?
You have. I can say.
Someone can, we can happily hear from somebody else to speak on your behalf if you'd like.
Can I have someone help me?
Absolutely.
My friends Kurt help me.
Okay, Kirk can speak
Okay,
on
it's
your
Kurt.
behalf. Thank
Okay,
you.
this is Melissa. Thank you.
Thank you for your time tonight.
Hi, Kirk.
So we're with Ruby. We share the same building with her.
And,
Name and address before he begins, please.
Yep, Kurt, just say your name and address for the record so we can capture
No,
your
it's-
comments.
It's Kurt Hausman, and the address is 3 Main Street in Gloucester.
Thank you.
So Ruby's
you.
been in business for how many years, Ruby?
5 years.
Oh, the business itself.
So remember, we're asking for criteria, not soliciting on behalf of a business.
Right. So the criteria is that she's been in business for over 20 years, and you know, she feels as well as we do that any license that becomes available should first be offered to the businesses that have been in business the longest with the seasonal license. Certainly after COVID, all of these restaurants and bars like ourselves are struggling to recover. And it's not been easy for small business owners. So anything that the city and licensing board can do to assist small business owners in Gloucester so that we don't have these vacant spaces on Main Street in downtown, and to help the minority, population within the city would be a great help. And I think that the licensing board should first look at these businesses that have been in operation and have been struggling. And I think that would be very helpful for someone like Ruby to be able to get a year-round license, and it would help her not only make money in the summer, but make money year-round. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kurt. I see Ruby's hand is still raised. I'm gonna go back to that because there's no one else at this time. So I believe it was Rick. Are you under Ruby?
Rick?
Hand is down, but Sunrise is mute. Sunrise needs to mute. I'll mute you. So now the hand is up again. Is there anyone else attending this meeting that would like to speak regarding the criteria for the new license? So we'll go back to Sunrise and find out if somebody else is under that name.
Madam Chair, there's another one, Elizabeth
Yeah.
O'Connor.
Hold on, let me. Sunrise, if you want to speak again, can you unmute, please? Okay, we are going to go on to Elizabeth O'Connor. Elizabeth O'Connor, can you hear me? If so, state your name and address for the record.
Yes, Elizabeth O'Connor, 138 Main Street, Gloucester, Mass. And
Thank you, Liz.
sure. So
Also a former licensing board member.
Yes, absolutely. A long time ago.
Yes,
Um,
thank you for joining us.
Sure. So although I understand and have empathy for the seasonal license holders, I also am looking at it from a different perspective, because the reason that this license is available is because there's an increase in population in the city. And so I feel like that warrants a new establishment in the city. So I feel like that, warrants a new restaurant or so giving the license to a seasonal establishment, just giving them a year-round license doesn't create a new business in the city. So I feel that the criteria is important that it be given to a new establishment. That would be a priority in my mind.
Thank you. Is there anything else you wanted to tell us?
No, just that in my mind, that's a priority to create a new establishment.
Great. Thank you very much. It's very helpful. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? We still have 23 attendees. I know some are here tonight for some business on the agenda. But is there anyone else that would like to address the licensing board for criteria when considering how we would award the liquor license? I see Caitlin Bzenny has her hand up, so I'm going to allow her to talk.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Hi, Caitlin. Yes, we can.
Great, thank you. Caitlin Pizzeni, 30 Dodge Street, Gloucester, Mass. I would just like to, whether it ends up being considered for seasonal or a new business, I would like to see it go to a small local business if possible, or a local business starting out, and not a large restaurant chain if possible. As we've seen, sometimes when that happens, they end up sitting on them for a long time. It doesn't open. And for the benefit of the city and in keeping with the kind of the history and tradition of Gloucester, we are a small, local, business-friendly community, and I think that would be the best criteria to consider first.
Thank you very much, Caitlin. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't see any other hands up. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board regarding criteria? Last chance to speak to criteria. Seeing none, so I am going to close this public hearing. We do have this matter on our agenda at the end of the meeting. I'm not sure what the goal is tonight with it. We just wanted to hear from the community. So we may bring this up later on at the end of the agenda for some sort of discussion or to set some guidelines or a timeline. So I'm going to move on to the next business. We have lots of business to do tonight. I'm going to go to a new seasonal all alcoholic beverage package store license on a proposed new on-premise Section 12 seasonal restaurant all alcohol beverage license for Rocky Necklace LLC, DBA The Rudder at 73 Rocky Neck Ave, with the manager of record being Michael Dudas. I believe Meredith Fine is here to represent that matter. Meredith, is this your matter before the board tonight?
It is, and thank you so much for moving it up the agenda. I really appreciate it.
I know you're going to get to city council. So thank you. So we'll have you present and then we can open the public hearing. Does that process sound okay with you?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, so go ahead.
So Meredith Fine, 46 Middle Street, representing Rocky Necklace LLC and its owner, Barbara Lynch. Before I get to that, I just want to say that if Facebook is to be believed, I believe that Mr. Orlando is choosing to spend his birthday with us. And
yes.
I appreciate it. So.
John,
this
you're
is a-
muted, just so you know.
So this is a 140-seat restaurant that has been on this site since the 50s with a dock. Ms. Lynch wants to create a place that is comfortable and welcoming for the residents of Rocky Neck and the residents of the city, but also a destination for visitors. There will be some light entertainment, namely unamplified jazz music, piano, that sort of thing. The hours at the beginning will be limited to Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays while they're getting it off the ground. The hours from 11:30 a.m. to midnight. This is Miss Lynch's 7th restaurant. The rest of them are in Boston. She started visiting Cape Ann when she was a child and visited here while she was growing up, fell in love with Cape Ann, and then moved to Lanesville in 2016. She loves the city. She sees enormous potential on Rocky Neck. And she's been reaching out, meeting with neighbors, meeting with city officials, introducing herself, and listening to what would fit here. And she is here with me in my office with Mr. Dudas. Mr. Dudas, who would be the manager, is tip certified. I submitted his tip certification, I think on Monday. He is planning to spend at least 35 hours a week on the premises. But when he's not there, there will be a general manager and an assistant general manager. He has 10 years of restaurant experience, very significant restaurant experience, including operations and management. My favorite part of his resume was something called cocktails consultant for Jeffrey Zakarian, which I did not realize was a job. The neighborhood is eager for the Rudder to reopen. It's been sitting there for a couple of years. I submitted on Monday a petition signed by 91 residents, most of them from Rocky Neck. They can't wait for the Rudder to open again. This will just be a gem. It's a world-class team that's going to operate a world-class restaurant. And I think you'll be very proud of it. I'm happy to answer your questions.
Thank you. I think right now I'm gonna open up the public hearing just to see if there's anyone that wants to speak. Is that okay with John and John? Yes. I lost most people's faces. I'm seeing black screens with the exceptions of John Lamoran, so I'm gonna assume that they both said yes. So I'm gonna call to order the public hearing for Rocky Necklace LLC DBA The
Sorry.
Rudder. That's okay. Is there anyone that would like to speak to this application? If you do, please raise your hand or press *9. I
We have
see
one.
Jean Pasquina. Jean Pasquina, can you unmute and state your name and address for the record, please?
Could I be heard?
It's Ed. I
You can be-
unmuted.
We're waiting to be heard on another issue on Maria's Pizza, and she is.
Okay, I'm going to assume that that hand was not raised for this matter. Is there anyone that would like to speak to the matter on Rocky Neck? Seeing none, I'll close that public hearing. Okay, thank you very much, Meredith, Attorney Fine, for that introduction. I appreciate it. John and John, I will start with you with questions. John Orlando, you're muted. John Lamoran, you're muted. Somebody
So
talk.
I don't have any questions at this time.
Okay. Great.
Madam Chair, I think the only question I have is I didn't see any serve safe with Michael for the manager. Do you know, Attorney Meredith or Attorney Fine, if they're going to have serve safe bartenders at that establishment?
Bartenders all be certified. Yes, Mr. Lamron, the bartenders will all be Serve Safe certified.
Great, thank you.
Go ahead.
And then basic layout, is there any real changes to the layout? I know you attached the floor plans, but the flow is still pretty much the same, correct?
The floor plan's not changing at all.
Great. I mean, other than that, no, the application is
Thank
pretty
you.
thorough.
Thank you. So Attorney Fine, I was reading through the lease agreement. Am I correct to say that this lease agreement is subject to getting this license? Did I read that correctly?
You did.
Okay. So at
I
this
mean, the
point,
lease- I'm sorry to interrupt.
that's okay. Go ahead.
The lease is in effect now and they're occupying the premises.
Right.
But they do have to get a liquor license.
Yeah. Okay. And have you applied for a common vic or anything? Is like, have they started any operations or, and I ask this question because I guess I'm trying to get to, are you waiting to see what happens tonight before you take any additional steps?
No, thank you for asking that. We have been working on the common vic license. We had a little misunderstanding that I had wanted it to be filed by today and we just had a little administrative misunderstanding. But it's certainly on the way, and then the 2 entertainment licenses are on the way.
Okay. And so when do you plan on opening? What was the?
Yeah. I think by the time we get to your next meeting, hopefully the ABCC will have turned the liquor license around. You'll have the common vic and the entertainment licenses. And the Safe Serve certifications. And I mean, it's very much under renovation right now. I went there today, and so it's going to be at least a couple of weeks before they're going to be able to be operational anyway.
Okay. I think the turnaround with the ABCC is about a month, 3 weeks to 4 weeks, just so you know if that helps you. During these renovations, are you doing any type of winterizing or is it just more visual?
No, they're not winterizing it now.
Okay. So the licensed area will be the same as it has been in the past, which is the downstairs to the building and then the deck?
Yes, exactly.
So nothing on second floor?
No, and in fact, I may have misspoken about that, and I have to double check the application, but no, just the first floor and the deck.
Okay. And I noticed in the lease agreement too, it mentioned liquor liability insurance, which is also a requirement for us too. So I'll assume that you'll get that before your next meeting as well? Because I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's in process.
Okay.
Thank you. Did you really read that whole lease?
Well, we know lease language is pretty standard. Sometimes a couple things jump out, so I'd be lying if I said I read every word.
I salute you.
It gets a little boring. I know lawyers like to read words, but not me. I pass on the lease law. But
Yeah, I think the Boston attorneys get paid by the word.
exactly.
That's why the two Johns keep her around.
Yeah. And I do this for free because I'm a volunteer, so no, I did not read every single word. So I guess if you have, first of all, this is very impressive to me, and I just want to say, you know, Barbara Lynch has a great reputation in this community. I frequent the hotel in Tono and hear her name mentioned often, so I'm very much looking forward to this new business down on Rocky Neck. I think it's going to bring a little bit of a revitalization down there, which is exciting. And I thought I read somewhere that she might be doing cooking classes too, which I can assure you, if this goes forward, I will be the first one to sign up.
Yay.
But so, did you say Michael am I pronouncing this right? Dudas is with you?
Yes, he is.
Okay, can I just speak with him a little bit?
Sure.
Thank you. Michael, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
So being the manager of a license is a good responsibility, and we take that very seriously, of course. So I'm curious to just hear what your thoughts are, like knowing that you're the manager on this license, when there are liquor deliveries, how will they be received? I hear that you're going to be on the premises, and if not, there'll be a general manager. Are you saying that either you or the general managers or assistant will be there at the time of these deliveries to accept the alcohol?
Typically, yes. I mean, we also, we utilize receivers in our Boston restaurants, so there might be someone there to receive for us. But the goal is to have definitely myself or the GM or manager of some sort on site whenever we're open.
Okay. And what type of protocols, if any, are you going to have in place? Gloucester is become well-known for underage drinkers trying to have a little bit of fun on the weekends. And I'm curious to know what protocols, if any, you will have for checking IDs and things like that.
Anyone who doesn't look of age, or if we even have a slight question, everyone will be ID'd, and if they can't produce ID, they won't be served.
Okay.
I should also say, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead, Meredith.
I should also say that I don't think this is going to be like a club,
No.
where there's like a lot of young people hanging out.
Mhm. Okay. I'm just trying to understand. We work closely with the Gloucester Police Department, and they have told us on numerous occasions that this is a issue in Gloucester. It was a pretty good sized issue during COVID, believe it or not, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a club. So I'm just asking anyone that wants to be a manager that question. I answer that consistently to all managers. So it's not trying to
Fair enough.
to do anything other than just get the question on the record. Okay, so knowing that the common victual license is coming, the liquor liability is coming, I don't have any other questions, and I'm very excited for this new adventure. So John, who will be making motions tonight?
So I'll make the motion if it's okay, since John did the last two. So I would, and to get the ball rolling on this one, I would like to make a motion to approve an on-premise Section 12 seasonal restaurant all alcoholic beverage license for JGC. Oh, wait a minute, wrong one. For Rocky Necklace LLC, DBA The Rudder, 73 Rocky Neck Ave. Manager of record being Michael Dudas.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on this motion to approve? Meredith, I just want to get on record as well. I mean, I'm hearing that you're open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Is there going to be a goal to be open every 7 days, or will there be a day of rest for this restaurant?
Well, it'll ramp up to 7 days.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll ramp up to 7 days.
I haven't hired anybody. Yeah, based on staffing.
And you're looking to open in May?
I was looking to open up
As soon as possible, yes.
Okay. I know there's usually a history of opening for Mother's Day down on Rocky Neck, but fingers crossed you can get there. If there's no other discussion, roll call vote, please, Allison.
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
Mr. Lamoureux?
John's muted. Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Orlando?
Yes.
Ms. Prince?
Yes. So that vote passes unanimously. I expect to see everyone in May. We are going to have a special meeting in April. As of right now, but maybe by the end of the month, Attorney Fine. So if that assists you in any way, because we have, believe it or not, a lot of people are reaching out to us for licenses over the next couple months. So I discussed earlier about having an extra meeting probably on Tuesday, April 26th. That isn't 100% confirmed yet, but that's what we're shooting for. So if that date will help you, just stay in touch with Allison and we'll get you on the agenda.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any questions for us?
No, thank you so much. It's great to see you all.
Have a good night.
Night.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Next order of business is a late renewal of an annual alcohol beverage liquor license. A proposed late renewal for an on-premise Section 12 annual restaurant beer and wine license for Maria's LLC located at 35 Pearl Street. Manager of record is Kathleen Moody. I believe we have Attorney Basquina here. Attorney Basquina, if you could hear us, can you unmute and state your name and address for the record?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Pretty much. Can you get closer to whatever device you're talking to?
Certainly. Good evening, Madam Chair, Prince, and both Johns. My name is Ed Pasquina. I'm an attorney at 75 Middle Street. I represent Maria's LLC for the late renewal of their annual beer and wine license.
Okay. Is there anything you want to present to us before we open the public hearing?
Well, this is a family restaurant that has been in existence under different owners since 1959. The present manager is sitting here with me, Catherine Moody, who lives on 151 Maplewood Avenue. She's been the manager there since 2004. Catherine, do you want to say hello?
Hello.
Hi, thank you for joining us tonight. Okay, so this was a license. We had several licenses that couldn't make the deadline last year. So this, I believe, is the third of 3. So this is an establishment that's been in business for some time, year-round alcohol license. John and John, do you need any more information before I open the public hearing? No.
No.
So I'm going to open the public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to speak to the Section 12 annual beer and wine license for Maria's LLC? If you do, please raise your hand and we will allow you to speak. Seeing no one, I'm going to close the public hearing. So we are open for questions. Who would like to start?
I just have
Go ahead, John.
so is there a reason that this was so late in coming?
Yes, it was. I think you asked me the same question when I was here before. There was a mix-up. This is the first year that it was done by computer. The people doing this are not computer savvy, as even myself.
Okay, I didn't hear you at the beginning of this meeting. Is there a change in ownership at all? Attorney Pasquina? Are you still there? Ed, are you still there?
Attorney Pasquina, if you can hear us, we can't hear you. Maybe you need to hang up and get back on again with either a different device or maybe just try reconnecting, because we can't hear anything at this point.
Can't hear you. Okay, he's muted.
Can
you hear us now?
can you get a little bit closer? We can barely hear
Certainly.
you and there's questions to be asked, so we need to have a conversation. So can I ask who owns this business right now? The name of the person or the family or the entity?
Can he call?
Attorney Pasquino, we can't hear anything from your end. Allison, do you know if we have a phone number that we can call?
I do not.
Hold on. Let me see. I'm just looking through the packet to see if there's anything. Usually there's a phone number in there somewhere.
They're at Mr. Pasquino's office, so we'd need his phone number. Or I have an office, if I Google him, I have an office number. Do you want me to try that?
Yeah, you can try that. I don't know if he'll be there, but we can try. I don't see any other phone numbers in the application.
Hi, Ed, it's Allison. I'm gonna have you, good. Good, I'm gonna have you try to speak through my phone. I'm gonna put it up to the speaker and see if that works, okay? All right, Madam Chair, I have him on speakerphone.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, that's a little better. Can you tell me, John Orlando was asking, who owns the business right now? It's a little bit unclear.
You hear me now?
Barely.
I don't think John asked that question.
I asked who the, if you have a new owner.
No, there is no new owner. It's, Kathleen Moody is the owner, and she is the manager, and she's sitting right here beside me. Did you hear that?
I did. Yep. So she's the original owner, last year's owner?
Yes. She has been the owner since 2004 or 5, and she has been the manager since then.
Okay, thank you.
John, do you have any questions?
Yeah, so are you currently just doing takeout there, or you said, is there folks that can go down there again and sit down and have meals?
They did a takeout during the pandemic, but there are people that have come in and sit. But their business has been suffering because they cannot augment their food by the sale of liquor. No, not beer and wine.
Attorney Pasquino, can you hang up the other phone that you had called in on? Because we're getting that back feeding from that phone.
Okay, very well.
If you could hang up Jean Pasquina's phone. Although it's muted.
Yeah, it's muted.
It does, I don't think it matters. They need to disconnect it.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, but we're getting some feedback.
Can you hear me clear?
No.
Do you want me to hang this phone up?
Can you hang up the phone that's saying, can you end whatever says Jean Pasquina on our screen? I don't know if it's a laptop or a cell phone. Did that, whatever number that is, can you hang that up? That's, okay. Okay, now try talking. Where'd you go?
That is my computer, which we were talking on.
Okay, great. We can hear you better now.
Much better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm sorry.
So can you just repeat? So we do have now, you're doing indoor dining now. Is that correct?
Yes, I answered yes.
Okay, all right. And no changes to the floor plan or anything? It's all the same kind of floor plan that was before?
The floor plan is the same. The employees are pretty much the same. There's only 5 employees now. There usually is 9 when the liquor license, if you, in your wisdom, approve this, there'll be 4 more employees that would work there as they have last year and the year before. There's no changes in anything. They're just renewing the liquor license that they've had.
Great. I'm all set.
Thank you, John.
Attorney Pasquina, do they have a common victual license to serve food?
Yes, they do.
Can you tell me when that was issued? Because I'm not seeing it in the system. Allison, can you confirm that they have an active common victual license?
I do not see that they have an active one now.
Now I can't hear Allison. Allison, can you say that a little louder? We can't hear.
No, they have not applied for one through the online system that I see.
So they do not have a common victual license. So at this point, they are not eligible to be serving the public, only doing takeout.
Well, we
So-
can rectify that immediately.
Yeah, Attorney Pasquino, I thought I saw, and let me just check a second, because I thought I saw that one was started in December by Kathleen, but I'm not sure. So let me just go in and look at that. Give me a second.
That they started their application and it wasn't accepted by the licensing board for whatever reason.
It wasn't, yeah, it was rejected because it came in late. So, hold on, let me just see, because I thought I saw that there was one that was started. Hold on.
Madam Chair?
Yes, please help me.
It looks like they started one in
Thought it was like December or something.
November 22nd. And it has not gone through the system. It is stuck on
Payment.
payment, I believe, yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Okay, so Attorney Pasquina, another former member of the licensing board. We've had a great audience here tonight. As you know, you need a common victual license to serve alcohol and to serve food. So at this point, Maria's does not have that. And I'm going to assume that we can fix that quickly. Correct?
Fine, yes.
Have you had any type of food inspections or anything this year to that business?
They have had the full, yes, there's been the 3 inspectors there. And that's attached to my, to the packet that I submitted.
Okay, I didn't see that. Hold on. John and John, can you confirm that that's in there?
I don't see it.
I didn't see it either.
Did you say the inspector, what did you, could you once again ask me the question?
So just wondering if you've had any food inspections or any other type of inspections. Usually that comes with the common vic license. And that common vic license expires every year on December 31st. So usually around the time that you apply for your liquor license, which is by November 30th, the applications for the common vics go in as well, which triggers the, I think it's the fire department, the building inspector to come and inspect the premises.
The electric inspector, the fire inspector.
I'm sorry, did you say they were there? So what I'm going to say is I'm looking at it online and I'm going to say that the inspections have not been done and it looks like a letter went out. So we have a couple issues here tonight that we need to address. So we need to get a common victual license because a liquor license can't be approved without one. So we need to get the common vic license going. Cannot serve the public sitting down inside without a common victual license. You can only do takeout with no seating. So we have a meeting in a couple weeks. Is there any way to rectify this situation by then? Or do you need more time? Allison, you're muted. The phone's muted. Allison, can you hear me? Can you unmute?
Trying, sorry.
That's okay. So I didn't hear, if Attorney Pasquino was speaking, we couldn't hear him. Was he speaking?
Is he still there? So did you want to repeat what you said?
Yes, the license inspection sign-off sheet was signed off by the building inspector on 12/2/21, the wiring inspector on 12/2/21, the fire inspector on 12/2/21, and the Board of Health inspector on 12/2/21. And that was submitted, attached to my application.
Allison, do we have that?
Let me take a look at his application. I don't collect that anymore because it goes through the system. So we don't
Okay.
collect a sign-off sheet anymore. So if he didn't submit it to me separately, but let me.
So
take a look.
I'm looking in the system and I see Health Department approval on December 17th. I see issue permit on December 17th. I see first annual inspection in progress. Second inspection is nothing, but then I see, based on the inspection today, the items marked failed and the inspection report indicate violations of the Board of Health food regulation. So there's a letter there. And I'm just trying to understand the system. I don't know if that's a letter that went to them or I don't know why I'm seeing this letter.
What date is that you're looking? You're looking at 2021?
So in there, it's called you know how you get a code in the system? It's FSE-21-31 renewal. And it's it was submitted on December 5th. Oh wait, there's an attachment. Let me see if I can look at that. Okay.
The ASI that I'm looking at, just so you know, is the annual safety inspection for November 29th, 2021. And it was approved by building, electrical, fire chief. The only thing I don't have, which the FSC is the health department. So that they don't sign off on this on the ASI. That they do their own separate one called the FSC. So what you're reading sounds like the health department, but everyone else did sign off on it.
So don't they sign off on the common vic license though? Like, isn't that the form they sign on? Is there something else now with this new system?
So yes, they do, unless they have a liquor license, then it goes on the liquor license.
I didn't hear the last part of that. If they have a liquor license, what?
They don't sign off on every single license, so it'll go to the liquor license that they'll approve. Is how
Okay.
I understand it. I don't see that health is on here at all for them to check off that they approved it.
Could I be heard, Madam Chair?
I'm sorry, go ahead, Attorney Pasquina.
I have in my hand
Okay,
a sign off by the Board of Health Inspector.
okay,
12/2/21. And there is a space for that on the license inspection sign off sheet. And a health inspector did sign off on 12/2/21.
okay.
I attached that to the packet that I submitted.
Okay, the issue is though, we don't have a common victual license and that is done through the same system. And you need that common victual license up on the wall when you serve patrons in the restaurant alongside the liquor license. So we're just trying to help resolve these issues. So when,
I think they have submitted one. Isn't that what Allison had said, that they submitted it, but it wasn't complete?
I think she said the payment wasn't complete.
Madam Chair?
yes, go ahead, Allison.
So they did have the license inspection sign off. What he was saying, that page that we used to accept last year.
Yeah,
They did have that signed off again, and it is signed off by building inspector, wiring inspector, fire inspector, and Board of Health, all on 12/2/21.
Okay.
so, and Allison, in your opinion, how, knowing they've had these inspections, how do we get a common victual license to them? Like how, what needs to be done with your knowledge of this new system?
So they need to go on to the online payment system. And they need to make their payment so that we can get that license through. Once that license, it goes through the system. See, they don't usually sign this, so it's gonna kick back to all those departments and all those departments are gonna have to sign off on it to come back again, but we can push that through. That's not that big a deal.
Right, because they've already got we know they got the inspections. It's just a matter of them paying for the common victual license and then they can get a copy.
So they need to go back to the online service and make their payment and finalize that so that I can put it on an agenda. Because it won't come to me until all those other places have checked it off.
Attorney Pasquina, do you understand what you need to do to get the common victual license?
Your liquor license this evening? I mean, could that be approved and then we'll submit the common victuals license?
Yeah, I'm not gonna, I don't want to hold up your liquor license application. You just need to know that you cannot get the license in hand until the common victual license is issued as well. But it takes 3 to 4 weeks for the ABCC to approve.
Client can certainly live with that.
Okay. I do have a question though. I am told that there's a bar area in Maria's now, and when I called there today to ask them, they would not talk to me and wanted me to talk to you. So here I am. Do they have a bar set up in the inside of that? Has the floor plan changed as to what it was before they were open with COVID?
Plan is the same. I don't know if who did you speak to there?
Whoever answered the phone and refused to answer anything I asked, which I didn't even get to ask a question.
So they just suggest you call me. I don't know.
So what I'd like to know, because I've been told by several people that there's a bar in there now, a small bar. Is that true? Because that changes the floor plan. It doesn't necessarily change any issue with the license, but we need to know what the floor plan is in there, and it may not be exactly the same as it was before. So what I'm trying to determine is there a bar in there, a small bar that would have changed the floor plan a little bit?
I'm looking at the floor plan right now. It could be amended in any way that you so desire.
I just want what the real floor plan is. So is Kathleen with you? Can I speak to Kathleen, please?
Hello.
Hi, Kathleen.
Hi.
So you are the manager of record, or you were and intend to stay the manager of record. Has the floor plan changed in Maria's? Is there a new bar area in there? I can't hear anybody for a response.
Is there a new bar area in the restaurant? Do you have a new bar area? That would,
No.
so the bar that is there, she's asking if the bar that you have in the restaurant was always there.
She's having a very difficult time hearing what you're saying. What is
Okay,
the
well-
question that you want?
Would you like me to repeat it for them, Madam Chair?
Yes, we're gonna give this one more time, and if it doesn't work, we're gonna continue it for 2 weeks when there's a better connection. So if you could repeat the question, that would be great.
So there's no misunderstanding about our communication?
Madam Chair, did you hear that?
I want to know if there's a bar area in the floor plan now.
I'm looking at and it says tables, and then it doesn't say specifically a bar.
But is there a bar there?
There's a counter there. That's where they put the food, apparently. There's no bar. They don't have a bar where someone can sit down and get alcohol. They have a counter that they use.
So let me ask this question. When you walk into Maria's and on the farthest wall to the back, are there still all booths there, or is there a bar area there?
There is no bar area, and I would say there is no bar area that people walk in and sit at the bar. There's no bar stools there.
Okay, but are there booths there?
Is there what? Booths?
Ooh, yeah, the booths that were there. I go to Maria's all the time, so I'm very familiar with what it looks like inside. So are there booths still on the, down the line on that back wall?
I didn't quite hear what you said.
Are there booths still along the back wall?
Along the back wall. Booths? Along the back, there's booths along where there's booths in the center, and there's booths along the back wall, and there's booths along the table. There's tables and booths along the window area.
So you're saying today that the floor plan is exactly the same as it was 2 years ago?
I don't know, because this is the first time. I asked them to do a floor plan, and I think they submitted the one that was the same.
Okay, I'd like you to ask, you have Kathleen with you, who's the manager, who is usually would be there on premises. Can you ask her while she's with you if the floor plan has changed since you've last been in there?
Two years ago.
She's still referring it as a counter, but I'm looking at it and it doesn't seem, I mean, I can certainly go up there myself along with the manager and see exactly what it is. I've been in there. I don't know of any bar that's there that I would consider a bar. But if you're, I mean, there's a counter up there and there's another counter somewhere in that.
Where do they mix the drinks?
Kitchen.
They only have beer and wine.
Just beer and wine, okay.
But they don't have, I mean, I've been in there obviously in the last, within the last month, a couple of times, more than a couple of times, speaking to them, and I've never seen, there's no bar that I would consider a bar where people walk in and sit on the stool and there's bottles in back of it and all of that business. I see none of that.
Is there a bar up against the wall?
you want, if you
Okay.
insist on a bar, then maybe it's a bar. I don't.
So I'm just trying to understand. So it's not a bar, it's just a counter.
Thing or be vague about this. It's a matter of terminology. They do not have a bar where people
Okay.
go and sit there and order drinks, and there is liquor shown visually above the bar.
Okay.
There is no shelves there to put liquor on.
Okay, I just want to make sure. So when the ABCC comes in and inspects, their idea of what the floor plan looks like is the same as ours. That's all I'm asking. It doesn't even matter to me if there's a bar there, with the exception of we would just amend the floor plan. It's okay to have a bar. I'm just trying to understand if the floor plan replicates what the actual floor plan is. That's all. You have a license, you're entitled to have a bar. I'm just trying to establish whether the floor plan has changed, because the comments that are coming back to us is that there is a new counter bar / something at Maria's. That's all. Just trying to figure out what it is and how it's managed. That's all.
Okay.
It's nothing more than that. I just want to make sure that the floor plan accurately reflects to how liquor is being served in that establishment. That's all.
It's served at the tables and chairs in the booths. That's where it's served.
Okay. So it's just service, table service only.
Understanding.
Okay, well, you have the manager there with you. Is it her understanding as well?
Sit at some place like that counter and have a drink while you're waiting? No, you can't. It's for, that area is for the waitresses to pick up food and to serve to the tables.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
And how many hours a week is Kathleen on the premises as manager of the license?
What did you say? How many hours per week does the manager be there? It says
Yes.
on location 20. The place is open 30 hours per week. It opens at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and closes at 5. I mean, excuse me, at 9.
Okay, and how many hours a week is Kathleen there?
The answer to that, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Question.
Now I can.
Maria's is open 6 days a week from 4 in the afternoon till 9 at night. That's 30 hours per week. And she is there 20 hours per week.
Okay. Thank you. I know it's difficult going back and forth here. I'm just, if I'm speaking loud, it's because I feel like you can hear me better if I do, because there's a bad connection.
I would much rather you speak louder than not.
Okay. Okay, I think I am good. And all the waitresses that serve alcohol in Maria's will be tip certified?
I believe they were. I mean, this is a renewal of the license. I think they were tip certified some time ago.
Okay, so there's a renewal for that. So in order for the waitress to serve alcohol, in order for this license to issue, know that by the time you get the license, the waitresses that serve alcohol must be tip certified.
That's understandable, and that'll be done.
Okay. John, do you have any other questions?
No, Madam Chair.
No, thank you.
Okay, I think I'm good. I just want to, can I make this motion? And you
I would
guys
love
can-
you to make this motion. I'm
Okay,
trying to
so-
figure out how to.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion to approve the late renewal of an on-premise Section 12 annual restaurant beer and wine license for Maria's LLC, 35 Pearl Street, with the manager of record being Kathleen Moody, subject to the waitresses getting tip certified to serve the alcohol and a common victular license to issue before the license is provided to the establishment.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion in that?
No.
Allison, do you have any concerns with that motion or anything else that needs to be done to get this establishment properly licensed?
Hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, no, I do not.
Okay, great. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Lamrian,
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes.
Ms. Prince.
Yes. Attorney Pasquina or Kathleen, do you have any questions for us? Do you understand what needs to be done?
She understands completely. As a matter of fact, she was taking notes as I was writing notes. She was writing notes also, but I'll go
Okay,
over
great.
with her this
So
evening.
any questions, just call Allison. So like I said to the others, it takes about 3 to 4 weeks for the process of the license. So in the meantime, you can get that other stuff done. And once it's done, you do have to come before the board again for the common victual license to be approved. So plan on that, okay?
And you said you were going to have another meeting in April. Could that be possible to get on
Yep.
that?
So work with Allison, and the meeting is scheduled for April 26th. It's a Tuesday night. It's 2 weeks from tonight. So if you can get everything done by then, we're happy to address that matter at that meeting.
Thank you so much. And I'm sorry about the communication, but unfortunately, something happened either on my end, your end, or whatever. But anyway, thank you so much, and I appreciate your time and effort in this matter.
You're welcome. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. Thank you.
All right, bye now.
Next order of business is a new seasonal all alcohol beverage restaurant license for JCB Investments LLC, DBA Castle Manor Inn, 141 Essex Ave, manager of record, Kaylin Andrews. Is there anyone here? Could they raise their hand? Kaylin is here. Kaylin, can you unmute and state your name and address for the record?
Yep, my name is Kaylin Andrews, 205 Western Ave, Gloucester, Mass.
And I tell you how happy it is to hear your voice, just because we can hear you.
I know.
Wow, what a difference. Thank you. Okay. So we have to have a public hearing on this. Tell us about your business. This is new owners, so tell us what's going on over on Essex Ave at Castle Manor.
Yeah, so Castle Manor Inn, it's a 26 bedroom boutique hotel with a bar, restaurant, and function space. It's been run like that for the past 10 years. This year we're under new management, looking to, go about our business as we have for the past 10 years, serving the public for events. I know we've become very popular for those with our outdoor deck space. Yeah.
Okay. Hold on, just grabbing your information up before me here. Where is it? Allison, is this application in our packet? I'm seeing something else. I think.
Yes, it
Yes, sir.
is. But somehow during this meeting, everything has gotten moved into a weird spot. I have no idea how.
Yeah, like what happened? This isn't what I've seen.
I have no idea. So I'm gonna walk you. So if you,
What's Gattuso?
those are the quarries.
Okay,
that I said earlier
Okay.
today.
Yeah.
And I think if you go through, it seems like everything somehow got moved under one of the applications. Yes, so if you go under the Rudder new liquor license, somehow they're all appearing under there. Everything's under there.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Mm.
Okay, so. So Caitlin, is the area that's being licensed, is that the same as it's been in the past, or is there anything new?
Nope, it's the same area. Everything is staying the same.
Okay. And how long have you had this business?
I've worked there for the past 4 years.
Okay. So you've been there 4 years, but this is new for James?
Yes, he's
I'm just
also
trying to figure out why we're here, that's all, because it's a new license. So it's a new owner.
New
But you've
owner.
worked, but she's worked there. And have you been the, were you the manager on the other license?
I was not. Laura Baker, who is the old owner, she was the manager on record.
Okay. So with this new owner, is he here with you tonight?
He is on the line.
Okay, great. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the public hearing to this matter is to see if anyone would like to speak to us before we do an inquiry. So is there anyone that would like to speak to the Castle Manor Inn license tonight? If you do, please raise your hand or press *9. I don't see anyone, so I'm going to close the public hearing. Okay, John and John, do you have any questions for this application?
So, hi, Caitlin. Are
Hi.
you there? Hi.
Yes.
So I'm very familiar with the property since I managed it for 10 years prior to Laura Baker taking ownership. Is the interior, the floor plan, the deck, everything the same? And are you still going to continue doing weddings?
Yes,
and
everything
functions?
stayed the same. Yep.
Okay, so everything is the same. And I know you did a great job when you were working for Laura. She speaks highly of you.
Oh, thank you.
So at this point, I don't really have any other questions. Except when might you be opening? Looks like you're doing a lot of work to the rooms.
Yes, so we have a few events, April 23rd and 24th, obviously depending on when our license comes in. These were events that were booked last year because of COVID, got moved to this year. So I know that that all depends on when our actual license comes in and we're approved to be able to serve.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Caitlin, can you speak to your professional experience with being a manager on a license, or your just experience as a bartender?
Yeah, so last season I was kind of Laura's second hand. So we managed a lot of business. I was there with every event, bartending. I overlooked all of the bartenders as well. I went to school for hospitality business, so I have all of my education background to back me up for my job.
Are you tip certified at this point, or going through the process?
Yes, I am tip certified and serve safe.
Perfect. Okay. Great. Thank you.
You're
Go ahead,
welcome.
Madam Chair.
Caitlin, I didn't see any liquor liability insurance in your packet. So Allison, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi, did they submit liquor liability, workers' comp? And do they have a common victual license?
So they are in the process of doing that now. Honestly, with the new system, it's kind of gotten left behind a little because what they need to do is put all their information in a second time. So it's almost like once they apply again. We don't usually have them do that until they've been approved by the board before they enter all their information into our system.
Okay. Caitlin, have you worked anywhere else as a bar manager? I missed that. If you said it, I apologize.
No, I have not.
Okay.
And about both the insurances, we do have a workman's comp and a liquor liability commitment. They just haven't been uploaded. And we did receive our common vic license as well.
Perfect. So who's going to be accepting alcohol when it's delivered on the premises, when you get deliveries? What is the plan for that?
So any liquor deliveries, I'll be on premise, so I will be collecting and putting away all of the alcohol.
Okay. And do you have any protocols in place for carding or assuring that minors aren't being served?
All of our bartenders check all IDs. If they feel somebody's underage, they do check, and they just go through all of these steps on the ID to make sure that it's not a fake. If they feel that it is, we just do not serve them.
Okay. And what do you intend to be your hours of operation?
So Wednesday through Friday, 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. Saturday is 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Sunday is 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. And that's a combination of our restaurant hours, breakfast hours, and events.
And what time do you plan on starting to serve alcohol on Sunday?
Usually our events don't start until 11, so it would be after 11 a.m.
Okay, just so you know, the law says 10 o'clock, no service of alcohol before 10 o'clock on Sunday. And you can serve anytime after 8 a.m. Monday through Saturday.
Understood.
And do you have a lot of bookings yet for events?
We do.
Tell us a little bit about them, like what's going on?
Lately we've been getting a lot of class reunions come the summer, a lot of bridal showers, a few weddings in the summer, and then we're collecting a lot more weddings for the fall.
How many people, what's your capacity there? If someone wanted to have an event, like what's the most amount of people you can have?
We can have 120 on the back deck.
Oh. So just on the deck, you can have 120? Does that mean it could be bigger if you used another area?
So typically we only use the back deck for events, so our cutoff is 120.
Great, thank you.
And Caitlin, what are the hours for the events? They end at 9 as well?
So on Saturdays, if we have a wedding, we typically ends at between 10 and 11. Usually we have our music shut off by 10, 10:30, everyone's kind of done. If it's during a weekday, so Thursday or Friday, usually done by 9 p.m. Sundays, we're typically done before 8 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
And did you get an entertainment license yet for the music?
So the entertainment license is pending right now. I know I talked to Allison today about it. And we were waiting on the approval from the fire, but they had approved it after you had set the agenda for this meeting.
Okay. And I'm sure you've heard before we talked to you that we're going to have another meeting this month, if that helps you out at all to get that expedited.
Yes, it would.
Okay. John, do we have any more questions?
No.
Madam Chair.
John Orlando, do you want to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the new on-premise Section 12 seasonal restaurant all alcohol beverages license with JCG Investments LLC DBA Castle Manor Inn, 141 Essex Avenue. Manager of record being Kaylin Andrews.
Second.
So I'm just going to add a little bit to that. I'm going to amend it to, it will be approved subject to receiving the workers' comp, the liquor's liability, the common vic they already have, and just making sure that the hours that they stated are approved and written on the license.
Okay, and just for clarity, when did you say your first event is? Is pending the liquor license? Is that correct?
Yes, so we have events on April 23rd and 24th. They were booked as of last year. And I know that it all depends on when our approval for the liquor license is. So if we don't have it in time, obviously we can't serve alcohol for those events.
Okay. Is there a way that she can get them on time?
I know in the past, we had another eager establishment and they were able to call the ABCC directly and see if they would expedite it. We can't do anything. It gets sent in from us that it was approved. And like I said, it's been taken 3 to 4 weeks. So Caitlin, you may want to call the ABCC directly and talk to them. They're very helpful up there and they might be able to get that approved by them. But if not, that's only a couple weeks. I don't know. We can't guarantee it, obviously.
Understandable. Definitely give them a call.
Okay.
Great. Good luck.
Any further
Be
discussion?
good, you're right across from my private residence.
Okay, John.
Any further discussion on the motion? Roll call vote, Allison? Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes.
Ms. Fritz.
Yes. So that passes. Caitlin, do you have any questions for us before you leave?
I do not, just as long as we figure out which meeting we can have the entertainment license be on in order to get that approved.
Yep, just talk to Allison and she can help you get that on the agenda.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
You
Good
too.
night.
Next order of business is change of manager for Eastern Point Yacht Club. Who is here for Eastern Point Yacht Club? Please raise your hands. William Rand, Tim Hart. Tim Hart.
You're moving around on me.
Hello, this is Tim.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, is this Tim Hart?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and who is speaking with you tonight?
I think the Commodore Bill Rand is on the call,
Okay.
and the controller, perhaps, Jack Egan.
Okay, so I have all three of you. So who would like to speak on behalf of this matter? Just state your name and address for the record.
I'm happy to speak. My name is Tim Hart. I live at 11 Goodhue Street in Salem, Massachusetts.
Thank you for joining us tonight. So we have a change of manager, and I believe we were speaking to you not too long ago. Hold on, I'm just bringing up your application.
Okay.
So Tim Hart is the general manager, that's you, correct?
Correct.
And you are putting forward yourself.
Correct. If I can do that.
You can.
Well,
You have all the correct paperwork here, all the permissions you need. So tell me about your experience as a manager on a license or working with alcohol.
Sure. I was the food and beverage manager at the Harvard University Faculty Club for 20 years. After that, I spent 5 years as general manager of the Lanham Club located in Andover, Massachusetts. And most recently, I've spent 7 years as the general manager of the Cumberland Club up in Portland, Maine.
So you come with lots of experience. That's great to hear.
Thank you.
And how many hours a week do you plan on being on the premise?
When we open, right now, I'm there about 35 hours a week. When we open up for the season, I'll be there about 50 hours a week.
Okay. And what will be the process for accepting deliveries of alcohol?
Yes, either myself, the dining room manager, or the controller will accept all the alcohol and sign for it.
And is everybody over the age of 21?
Yes,
Okay. And this is a private club, correct?
yes, it is.
And you do functions?
Yes, we do functions on the shoulder seasons typically.
Do you have any functions booked yet this year?
Yes, we do.
It's good to hear. John, do you have any questions?
No, the application was pretty clear. Experience is there. Tip certified. I have no issues. No questions.
And John Orlando, you said no, correct?
I said no, correct.
Sorry. Okay. I don't think I have any more questions. Jack Egan, do you want to speak, or does anyone else want a chance to speak on behalf of Tim Hart as manager?
Yeah, this is Jack. So I'm the club controller. This is my 7th season. And we appreciate the board taking the time for the change of manager. As we believe Tim will be a good fit. He's got a lot of food and beverage and club background experience.
Yep, sounds like a great fit. Okay, is there anyone else that wanted to speak, or are we ready for a motion?
Oh, there's a hand.
There's a hand. William Rand. Let's allow William Rand to speak. William, can you state your name and address for the record?
Yes, it's William Rand, 31 Hollis Street, Groton, Massachusetts.
Thank
I'm
you.
I'm the Commodore of the Eastern Point Yacht Club, and I concur with what Jack Egan has just said about Tim Hart. He's an excellent pick for our general manager.
Great. If there's no other questions, I will make a motion to approve the change of manager to be Tim Hart for the Eastern Point Yacht Club located at 125 Eastern Point Boulevard, Gloucester, Mass.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Lamb,
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes,
Ms. Prince.
Yes. So that motion is approved. We will send in the application to the ABCC. Know that they do their own separate type of investigation, so they may reach out to someone to speak on behalf of Tim Hart at that time. If not, if they see everything in order on the application, they may not reach out as well. Do you have any questions for us?
Yes, it's Jack. I have a question.
Yes, Jack, go ahead.
Well, so our current license was issued in the name of the former manager record, Stephen Sharrod. Will that be updated and reissued?
It will. It will be updated. You can still use your license now. But it will be updated once they approve it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Nope.
Thank you, gentlemen, very much. Have a great season.
Thank you.
and don't go anywhere.
Why, do they have something else on?
Well, according to the agenda, isn't there a bunch of,
No, that's Annisquam.
oh, Annisquam, I'm
We're
sorry,
just on the
guys, go
Eastern
home.
Point.
Okay, we're good. Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good night. Next order of business is common victual license for Annisquam Yacht Club. We also have an annual club all alcohol license and entertainment licenses for weekdays and Sundays. So who is here to speak on behalf of Annisquam Yacht Club?
Dean Lavoy, General Manager, excuse me, 124 High Street, Ipswich, Mass, home address.
Hi, can you just say your first name again? I missed it. It was,
Sure,
they had a
Dean.
skip. Dean?
Yes,
Dean. Thank you, Dean.
you're welcome. You want me to-
Okay. Hold on, I'm just gonna pull up your paperwork. Can you find it? Got it? Okay, Dean Lavoy. John, do you have any questions?
Nope.
No, I mean, they've been in front of us many times, so
Yeah.
usually
I think
non-issues.
we've asked as many questions of them as we can.
So just to be clear, what are the operating hours at the club?
Operational hours of the club are 8 to 11. That includes front desk and waterfront operations, but lunch service starts at noon and food service stops at 9 p.m.
But for the service of alcohol, you're saying 8 a.m. to 11 p.m.?
No, not at all. Noon to 11 p.m. would be the max.
Okay. And are you open 7 days a week?
We are.
And do you have your liquor liability insurance?
We do.
Madam Chair, they do. It expires May 1st of 22.
Yeah,
Okay, so that needs to be
make sure you
renewed, I'm
have
sure.
my renewal.
Okay. And workers' compensation insurance, you have that as well?
Correct.
And tell me about your entertainment. What type of entertainment will you be doing?
Well, we have weddings or social events on the shoulders of the season, so we would have either a DJ or a live band. And then during the season, we will have speaker events, educational speaker events, 2 dances during the season, and other social events like bridge, mahjong, and just a kind of a full schedule. But the only significant band stuff would be at the beginning and end of the season, and 2 nights during the season, and maybe a Thursday night occasionally of small acoustical.
Okay, and this is a typical schedule for you, correct? I know COVID kind of threw a loop into things,
Yeah,
but,
no, this is back to like a 2019 schedule.
okay. And you don't get any complaints or anything about loud music
No,
late at night or anything?
I'm pretty regulated about that, and
Okay.
I also enforce for any events and put it on their contract or agreement that alcohol service will conclude at least 1/2 hour prior to the end of the event.
Okay, and you're not scheduling anything, because there's houses surrounding that area, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we're out on the pier, but I never have any music after 11 p.m.
Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna make a motion that we approve a common victual license for Ennisquam Yacht Club at 17 River Road.
I'll second.
We have a
Oh,
motion
I'm
and
the
a second.
second guy.
Yeah, I was the motion guy. But that's quite all right. It's my
Take it over.
birthday.
Take it over. You just sit there and be happy. Happy
I
birthday.
am. Thank you.
Do we have a motion and a second? Further discussion?
No.
Roll call vote, Allison?
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes.
Ms. Prince.
Yes. I'm gonna make a motion that we approve an annual club all alcohol beverage license renewal for Annisquam Yacht Club. Does that have a seasonal?
It's a seasonal.
Yeah, this is annual. It's a seasonal club all alcohol beverage license. Operating hours are 8 to 11 p.m.
Second.
Change that.
You change it?
No. I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, no, 8 to 11 p.m.
Okay.
Do you want to change that to 12 to 11 p.m. regarding alcohol service versus operational hours?
That's what I thought.
It depends. I mean, if you have someone that comes in and wants a drink at 10 o'clock in the morning, are you gonna tell them, no, I can't serve till noon?
Hell no, excuse me.
Hell no. We'll keep it at 8 a.m.
All right,
Any further discussion? Roll call vote?
Mr. Lammerin,
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes.
Ms. Prince.
Yes. I'm gonna do one motion for these entertainment licenses since we don't have to recommend to the mayor anymore. So I'm gonna make a motion for an entertainment license Monday through Sunday for Annisquam Yacht Club, 17 River Road, which includes weddings, DJs, speaker events, dances, social events, events that they've had in the past operating, so nothing is new, but we'll approve that entertainment license.
Second.
Allison, do you need any clarity on that?
Nope, I got it.
Okay, great.
Times though, you just said Monday through Sunday.
Monday through Sunday for their operating hours, which is 8 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Okay. All right.
Roll call vote?
Mr. Lammerin,
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes.
Ms. Prince.
Yes. Do you have any questions for us, Dean?
No, I appreciate your time, all of you.
Thank you very much. Wishing you a very happy season this year. It's going to be a good one.
Yes.
Thanks again.
Okay, final matter, discussions, deliberation, and action. Tonight, we heard from the public about criteria. I don't know if we are ready to speak to it yet or how you want to proceed. So John and John, I'm looking to you for guidance. We've heard from, I think, about 5 or 6 different people. A lot of the messages were similar for the criteria that they would like us to consider. Do you have any thoughts you want to share right now? Or do we want to put this on the next agenda and come back and be prepared to vote on criteria and possibly a deadline date to accept applications?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think I'd rather just kind of ponder all the conversations that happened today. You know, I wrote all my notes, so, and then probably come back at the 29th meeting and have some dialogue around those criterias and all that. That's my opinion, but.
Nope, that's important.
Will the 29th meeting, or whatever the date is, also be it will be public, but will it be for the public input on more criteria or for us to try to finalize this?
So we'll schedule a meeting in May. This topic won't be on the April 26th meeting. That is to
Okay.
get caught up on all the matters that are coming at us for one-day licenses and things like that. Because I don't want to add this on to a very long meeting.
Good.
Because I think having a fresh mind is best to approach this.
Yeah.
And that's why I would want to talk about it at the beginning of the meeting, and then that puts people off to wait if we have everything at the same time.
Right.
So I'm going to suggest that we do it in May, and I am on vacation for our regularly scheduled meeting in May, so we'll have to do it the week right after, so we can schedule that as well. But I see us coming back and having a good discussion about criteria. We can talk about what we heard, reflect to our notes, and what we would like to see ourselves independently. And any feedback you've gotten from the community and other capacities as far as criteria. Now, remember, we're not talking about establishments or consideration or any type of solicitation. I'm going to strictly prohibit that there's any discussion on that, because this is a very open and transparent process, and we are going to go through this in a manner where we set our expectations and then set a procedure. So I know you heard from Attorney Fine earlier when she had the experience of doing this with a prior license, and she talked about date stamping. Something I'd like you to think about and come back with a decision on is, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I reached out to the ABCC to discuss the type of process we would have, what their expectations are. And I had a conversation about how it was done before, where they were date stamped. And I believe they looked at each document, and the first document date stamp that met the criteria was how it was awarded. And I asked if that was the process we have to follow, and the answer was no. There is a suggestion that we come up with a deadline date and time to accept applications from anyone who would like to apply. And then we can review all the applications and make the decision from there. So I'm not asking you to make a decision tonight, but when we come back at our next meeting, we're going to have to solidify a good process to publish to the public as well. I want you to think about if you think we should be doing any type of advertising, and if so, where and how. If that is something we would like to do, and any other ideas you have. So I'm hoping we come back to this next meeting really prepared to lock in a process, procedure, and a date to begin this process. I mean, it began tonight getting the criteria, but we'll have to get it out there. What we're going to vote on criteria at our next meeting and a process. So questions that you have, is there any information? I mean, you did hear a little bit about community development tonight. Not that that puts us in any type of direction, but we heard from administration about what is going on in Gloucester, or what little we could hear about whatever new establishments are coming. I'm hearing rumbles of different things coming, but there's nothing that's been advertised that I'm aware of. But the increase in signage and parking abilities is wonderful. But I don't know if that influences our decision in any way, or if there's even a need to. But so I really need you both to think outside the box about a good process to come back and vote at our next meeting in May. It won't be the April 26th meeting, it'll be the May meeting. But is there any other information that either of you need or want to hear from, or is there anything that I can bring to a meeting to help with this process for either of you?
I think I'm good, at least, you know, with the notes I've taken. And I do you know if they, if there's minutes on the meeting that they had back when they issued it to Topside? On how
No,
they came
I
up with
don't know. I've looked through some minutes and I found, I have some minutes. I don't think it was the award though. I think it was talking about it that was provided to me by the city when they came up with their process. I can look for those and share them. I don't know that
Right.
it's going to be that much helpful, so I wouldn't depend on that.
Didn't Meredith mention she was the chair when there was a license available once before?
Yep.
But she didn't go into detail about how they worked that, how they gave that out.
So they developed criteria. Sorry, I'm hearing my dog take off with something that I'm sure he's going to eat. They developed criteria and then did a process where they date stamp each
Right.
application. that came
I
in.
heard the date stamp. I didn't hear any criteria. She didn't go into detail. But do
Yeah.
you think there's minutes to those meetings that might be helpful?
My guess is there's legally has to be minutes. It's just
Right.
where they are. I think it was in 2018. I'm not sure. It could have been a little bit before then. And a lot of our minutes are on our website. So all you have to do is go on our website to find them.
Look at them, yeah.
Yeah. And I know I have an email from the city solicitor a while back when we were talking about a different topic. It wasn't even about a new license that I got sent to discuss that process. So I can look for that email and send it to you both as well, which will have some information, at least have a timeline that we know to look back in the minutes for.
Yep, no, but I think that sounds good.
Okay.
We do have a raised hand.
So we're going to accept this, but we really have to be in the practice of not taking public comment during a full meeting. That's what public comment is for. And from there, so I'm going to allow this last time, but in going forward in the future, public comments that'll go before public comment, this isn't a back and forth conversation through a whole meeting. So Zorba, I'm going to let you speak. If you can be brief.
Absolutely. I just have a question. You mentioned something about you were going to stop taking applications at a certain point. I just wasn't aware that applications were already being accepted, and if they're not.
Applications are not being accepted. We're not doing anything right now other than establishing criteria.
Perfect. So there will be an announcement whenever they are going to be accepted.
Absolutely. Yep.
That's all. Sorry about that. I was just confused.
No. So let me just say this. What we'll discuss at our next meeting, where I hope to get at, is when we do set up this process, that an email will go out to all current alcohol license holders like we did when we announced that there was a license available.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I was just
Okay,
confused
you're
because it
welcome.
said there was a certain date it was cut off. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So next, the meeting in May will be, we need to come prepared and develop that process and figure out what the messaging we're going to get out to the community. If we want to go beyond the community, we want to just stay in the community. Those are the types of decisions and conversations that we're going to have and make at our next meeting. Any questions?
Nope.
Great. I don't see, is there any new business to come before the committee? So I just want to say at some point, I discussed this a while back. I don't know if John Lamourin remembers. When things quiet down a little bit, I want us to prepare some type of process and procedure for when there are violations to establishments. A lot of licensing boards have them. If you don't, I'm just going to use an example. The first time you are put in a position where you've been accused of serving to a minor or a noise complaint, sometimes there's fines and procedures that are involved with those types of conversations. We've been very fortunate in Gloucester that for a very long time, we haven't had issues come before the licensing board, but I remember a time, I believe it was when Michelle Harrison was on the board, that there was some activity with the licensing board where establishments were having some issues, and there had to be some sort of process and procedures in place to address different types of situations, so that we're kind of putting our businesses on notice that if something happens, this is what will happen, as opposed to trying to figure it out when it does happen. I've been reading a lot of case law and minutes from ABCC appeal hearings to try to determine and manage what are best practices learned from other communities. And that was one thing I think is important. I don't see it being in the near future, but somewhere on the horizon for us before we renew next year. So sometime over the next couple months when it quiets down a little bit, I'd like to have that discussion to consider. Is there anything else for new business? Any ideas? Please no. Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Allison, thank you for everything you've done tonight. Can you do a roll call vote?
You're welcome. Mr. Lamourin,
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes.
Ms. Prince.
Yes, thank you. There's still 7 attendees. Thank you all for joining us tonight, and we look forward to this conversation in the future. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
I'm thinking
Happy
that
birthday, John.
Oh, thank
Oh,
you.
yes. Happy birthday.
You know, all day today, my internet has been crazy. It's been going in and out all day. And I
Yeah.
think that we're experiencing some of that, especially with Mr. Frisquina on Middle Street.
Yeah,
I have a feeling we're experiencing some problems.
let's just hope
So-
that don't happen again.
Let's hope not. I am worn out.
That's painful. It's very painful.
It is.
It is.
All right, thank you,
All
gentlemen. Have a
right,
good
guys.
night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See
Happy
you
birthday,
later.
John.
Happy birthday,
Bye.
John.
Thank you.